come and walk the beach with me and let's talk all things healthy. Welcome to those who are watching this as a recording. I'm a little emotional. This is my last walk with me as a resident of Morro Bay. We just sold our home, we got an all cash offer, and we're here shutting it down. But I had to do one more walk with me because this is probably one of the favorite things I've ever done on social media. Here's my question for you. Have you got the mindset to make the best decision for you when it comes to January and back to health? And a lot of times people feel pressure with all of the resolutions and goals and all of those things. You don't have to get caught up in that. Or if you're like me and you like the synergy and the boost of it helping you get back on track, maybe you do enjoy that. Are you set up for success? I want to share a story of some things that I've experienced personally, and I've watched clients change it and become more successful when it comes to their health. So let's say that you are doing a reset, getting back on track. I know that I am. And when we do those resets, we sometimes, at least I'll say I was coming to the reset and to January excited about all of the new things that were happening and getting caught up in new notebooks and new supplements. But I was beating myself up from the past. And so I came to it so heavy. So here is, I think, if you want my opinion, here is what I think one of the most important things that needs to happen as you step into a reset or a refocus or a refresh. Did you know that New Year, New You is one of the biggest hooks that people use to get you caught up in their system? Make a system that works for you. So when we come to that reset, refresh, refocus, whatever it is that you're calling it, and oh my gosh, you guys, it's sea glass season time here in Morro Bay, and I'm really focused on not looking down and just searching for sea glass while I walk. But I promise we are going to talk about health, but I am going to search for sea glass when you and I are done. So when you come to that reset and refocus, if you're carrying baggage from other things that you've tried in the past, it's going to be really hard to be successful. Oh, good morning, you guys. Yes, we're back in California. This is the last walk with me on the beach, with me being a resident in Morro Bay. So we're just going to dive deep today and set ourselves up for success is what I want you to do. And please take care of yourself. I am going to talk about weight in a way to let it go from your mind, but that can be triggering for some people. I know that it can be for me. And I want you to take care of yourself. And if it does trigger you, hop off the live. Be good to yourself and put yourself in a conversation that lifts you. So you come to this refresh, this reset, this, oh my goodness, I need to go around these rocks so I don't mess up my camera by climbing rocks. I've got like a little setup. Hold on here just a sec. Ah, okay. So you come to this refresh, reset, and maybe in the past you tried to lose 5 pounds, or your goal was to lose some weight. And I'm doing this. I'm starting on Monday and I'm going to do this, but you didn't meet that goal. It didn't happen. is what it is. Think of it like a stick. And now I'm going to get wet with the high tide. Think of it like a stick. And now you're carrying that stick. And every single time, look back 20 years, 30 years, maybe you're like me, it's 40 years. Look back every single time that you have tried to do something and you didn't meet the goal and you weren't successful, you're carrying a stick. Think of all those sticks. Is there a lot of sticks? I know I was going into it with so many sticks. So imagine with me. Let's imagine together. Imagine, ooh, that was a big rock. Imagine that all of those sticks, each time, ooh, that is so pretty. Look at that. Oh, isn't that beautiful? Can you see? I don't know, can you see when the light shines through it? Oh, that one's going in my pocket. I can't leave that one there. That's got to go in my collection. So imagine those sticks. They become one great big, they meld together. Like imagine that. They're melding together. So maybe in high school you did something, or maybe, I don't know, you had a big date, or you were going to somebody's wedding, or I don't know, something, and oh, I've got to lose da 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 da, whatever it is, or I've got to do this, or I'm going to get rid of my migraines, or I heard this plan will help me do this, but it didn't do it for you. And you didn't finish it. You didn't meet that goal. Think of all those sticks over the year becoming like this great big log, and you're carrying that. You are carrying as well. You could be. Oh, let me pull that back. You could be carrying that. And so you come to 2025. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm looking up. I'm not looking down for sea glass. When you get to a bunch of rocks, that's where you find the sea glass. I'm not looking down. I'm going forward. I'm staying focused. I'm on the path. Okay, so when that happens, how big is your log? Is it maybe this big? Is it this big? Is it this big? Is it this massive log that you're carrying? And your subconscious wants you to stay the same. Remember that. Wants you to stay the same because that is safety. And when you start, let's say you're like, okay, I'm getting back to this, and maybe you're joining me for the 30-day challenge. Let's see, it starts the 13th. Maybe you didn't finish the 30-day challenge. That's a stick. And you add it and it becomes this log, and it's heavy. And your subconscious goes, oh, remember? Oh gosh. Oh, there's so many beautiful stones. Oh, now we hit Sand Dollar Beach. Now I'm on the part where there's just sand dollars everywhere. But you hit that, and it's just your brain is constantly telling you, oh, in the background, oh, this isn't going to work. It didn't work last time. Remember this and this and this and this? And I can go over even some of the names of things that I did that were popular at the time. And I would chase that somebody else's system and try to make it work for me. Other people's systems didn't work for me. We do need the basics. Our bodies need the basics. But I have autoimmune and you might have autoimmune, but we might need some different things. You might need to stay away from nightshades. I don't have to. You have to make a system that works for you. And you find that out by putting the work in. You got to put the work in. And if I can convince you of this one thing, if I can convince you when something doesn't work, when it has absolutely failed and it does not work, that you celebrate, that you were like, oh, this is amazing? Because I think it is. Because when you find what doesn't work, you can let that go out of your mind. You not only did the research, but you took the action and it doesn't work. You don't have to look at that again. It's one of those releases that opens up white space in your brain because you don't have to do that again. You did the research, you took the action, and now you have the knowledge. And no one can take that away from you. Absolutely no one, because you know that. So, for example, let's say you're scrolling social media and there's like this new supplement that you're seeing everywhere. And one time you kind of listen to the video or the whatever, maybe you like it. Well, they are going to start sending you more and more and more and more and more and more and more evidence of that video. It's now going to chase you. We create our own experience on social media. And so then you start thinking, oh man, this system's everywhere. Well, it's everywhere for you because you listened to it for a second or you hovered over something. And so now it's chasing you. Don't forget how powerful social media is. And once you start seeing that all of the time, you start thinking, oh, this is my system. Create your own system. Step away. Don't let an advertiser, I don't think that sounds right. Don't let an advertisement tell you what's right for you. In my opinion, let me do my disclaimer. I'm not a doctor. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm sharing. You and I are just sharing back and forth. Oh, let's see. Um, oh, Janet, thank you for suggesting pears for stomach issues. I've been eating one a day and it's made a huge difference. Janet, that is exactly what I'm talking about. Oh my gosh, you just made my day because we talked about pears. Pears are so powerful. Oh, pears are amazing. In fact, I've been sending out some emails like, these are the supplements I'm focused on. And anyway, I'm going to send out, these are the foods that I want to get in every day. Not that I do it every single day, but these are the foods. And pears is one of those foods. The fiber in pears, well, you can go back and watch that video. It's amazing. But Janet listened, heard some things, and thought, pears, that's pretty simple. I'm going to try that for my stomach issues. They're amazing for gut issues. And they worked for her. They worked. And so now she knows. She has that knowledge. She researched it. She learned it. But more importantly, she put it into action. And so now she knows pears help my stomach. They are a good fit for Janet and for me. Raise your hand if you've searched on pears. And Janet, the other thing that's so amazing about that, that I hope you're celebrating, and I want to remind you, and I'll celebrate. Ooh, I'll do a little dance for Janet. um, even a bigger pattern that you did is you took something from social media and you took action on it, because is what can happen is we can burn out. Oops, let's see, I think I'm going to have to turn around because the tide is high and there's a spot down there. I'm going to turn around this way so you can see it. Do you see that? See that little point where the rocks are? I'm not going to be able to get past that and my shoes will get wet. Anyway, so we're turning around the other way. I'm going over those rocks and I'm not looking for sea glass. I have found a bunch of really pretty pieces while we've been here. So the most important thing that Janet did is she saw something on social media and she took action on it, because I mean, do you love to learn? Oh my gosh, I love it. I love learning. It's a dopamine hit. It gets me excited. It lights up my brain. It actually helps me get focused. And if we continue to do that over and over without taking action, we start getting dopamine candy. So think of it like unearned dopamine. And then we get addicted to that. And then it starts to burn out our dopamine receptors. And then we start scrolling more and more. And then we become mindless. Like we just sit there and scroll. If you're someone that binges Netflix or other shows, or you find yourself on social media and you can't remember how long you've been on there, I think take action. If you see something on social media, take a little micro action on it. And Janet did that. So she learned it and then she put it into real life application. And almost tripped on a rock. um, she put that into application and now she knows pears are my thing. If her stomach's upset and maybe for a week or two she hasn't been doing the pears, now she knows pears are for her. They help her stomach. No one can take that knowledge from her because she put that into action. That is building what Janet knows for her that no one can do. There is no system that can tell Janet that. Now, maybe they didn't work for her. Celebrate. Janet now knows if it would have taken another pathway, Janet now knows that doesn't work for me. Boom, on to the next thing. And that's the crack that we make is when, oh, it didn't work for me. Nothing works for me. I heard Kristen talk about this and it didn't work. Nothing's working for me. If you can change that right there to boom, I found out pears don't make a bit of difference at all. Moving on to the next thing. That will shorten your journey by years. You will be so far into just waking up like I did this morning, feeling so good. That right there is the number one thing I wish I could help every woman understand. And when I'm working one on one with clients, that's the first thing. That is the first thing we focus on is changing how they view when something doesn't work to shorten that timeline. Now, one of the other things, I sent out an email. Feel free to join that email newsletter. That's where my master class, I do magnesium master classes and just send out emails and thoughts and things that are going through my head. And I'd love to have you join that if you want to. And in one of those emails that I sent out, I think it was the first or the second, I talked about oh, that's a pretty one. Okay. Oh, I got distracted a little bit. I talked about this is the first year that when at the end of the year, there's some specific blood work that I do. And this was the first year in years and years and years that my inflammation numbers went up, which means something is out of balance. Something is not, I'm not moving. Oh, excuse me. That was right in the mic. I turned my head not to cough on you and then realized my mic's right there. I'll go this way next time. So my inflammation went up. And some people wanted to know, wait a minute, how did you know that? I do a test in December every year, and it's called high reactive. Oh, what's it called? reactive, um, reactive. high sensitive reactive protein. Oh, oh, ah, I found a piece of sea glass. Oh, look at that. Can you see it? It's kind of oval shaped. Oh, I'm a lucky girl. I am such a lucky girl. Ha. High reactive protein. And I'll make sure I put that in I'll ask Shelly to put the exact name of the test and a link to it in the comment section. But I do that test every year. Some tests are quick moving tests and some tests are slow moving tests. And high reactive protein tests your inflammation. But the important thing on that test is the first time you do it, you really don't get, oh, whoops, excuse me, you really don't get that much information from it other than you've determined your marker because your inflammation number and my inflammation number can be different. And you determine your marker the first time you take that. And it will tell you, like, they'll be able to say, oh my gosh, your inflammation is through the roof, or oh, your inflammation's good. I take it every year because that way I get feedback from that test. Am I moving in the right direction? Because inflammation is everything. Now, 2024, this whole Amazon debacle, one of the hardest things I've ever faced in the company. In fact, it almost took us down. Came that close. It's been really tough. And my stress management tools didn't match the level of stress I was experiencing. My company is like, it sits at the kitchen table for my family. It's like another member of my family. And my stress management tools that I brought to it didn't match the level of stress I was experiencing. And a couple other things. And the combination of those, my inflammation's going the wrong way. And it was a huge wake up call for me. And so I did a loving, and this is the important part, a loving evaluation. And I realized I've gotten negative. I am quick to react. There's just some habits that I've stepped into that are not the person that I want to be. That's not the level that I want to live at. And so that December test really lights me up for what's going to happen for the next year. I choose to do it in December. You can do it any month that you want. I don't do it every month or every 3 months. It's a very slow moving test. So, for example, you could take it again in 3 months and it wouldn't show a difference because it's a long view picture. Uh-oh. Oh gosh. Okay, the tide's coming up. I've got to walk quickly here. Tide's coming up and I've got these big rocks to go over. Okay, so we might do a little bit of climbing together. And my shoes might get wet. Oh, I shouldn't walk down that far. I should have checked the tides better before I kind of forgot my old systems. I always knew where the tide was and what was happening with them. Oh, okay, we're gonna make it past. Oh, oh, I don't want my shoes wet. Ah, okay, we did it. We did it. We were successful. Okay, so like a glucose test, that changes. You can take your glucose in the morning and your blood sugar levels in the evening, and it's going to show you an immediate change. That's a fast acting test. But C reactive protein, highly sensitive C reactive protein test, that's a long view test. And so I just do it once a year, and it just shows me, oh, last year I was here, And typically, the last, I want to say 12, 14 years since I've been doing that, I either am the same or better. And this year, it moved the wrong direction. I am really evaluating what works for me. And that comes in the form of sunshine. So I looked over, okay, what's changed? What didn't I do? My number one thing, I didn't focus on sunshine as much in 2024. I knew it in my head and I planned things out in my head, but I didn't put it into practical application in the summer. I was focused on that darn Amazon and I let it consume my life. I'd wake up to work on Amazon, go to sleep working on Amazon, I dream about Amazon and them shutting us down and not being willing to open my account back up. And I've got like $50,000 worth of product there that they want to destroy or charge me like 18,000 to bring it back. Anyway, and so I am focused on inflammation on a couple of different areas that I know will bring that inflammation down for me. And one of the reasons I can set that system up successfully is I've been doing what Janet did with the pears. And so I know the things that work for my body. And I also have the philosophy that I need to rebuild my foundation. So join me on the 13th and start a 30-day magnesium challenge. Or maybe if it's not the best time for you to actually do the challenge, just come and hang out and let's get focused together and building a strong foundation so that our inflammation numbers are getting better, not getting worse. So I'm off. Oh, the bug hit me. One of the things, and because I think it's the simplest things that make the biggest difference. That's one of the things I've learned is the simplest things. And in my loving evaluation of where my body's at and why I walked a little backwards, I realized my breathing. I've been holding, I was on stress in my gut, like just, my gut was tight all of the time, or a lot of the time, I should say. And so, is what I'd like to do is I'm almost back to my car up here at the Cayucas Beach. Do you want to spend just a minute and is it just wind that you hear in the background or can you hear the waves? I would love to know. Oh, Julie, how do you use the spray? The spray, our feet have the biggest advantage to uptaking magnesium. And so, number one, remember the spray cannot do what soaking does. Okay. So, manage your expectations on the benefits of the spray versus soaking. I use the spray and I always spray it on my feet because my feet uptake more magnesium than any other part of my body. And then I will put it on other soft tissue areas like inside of thigh, underarm, over my belly, because those soft tissue will also, oh my gosh, it got really windy right here. Okay, can you hear those waves? Can you do? Uh, oh, can't hear the waves? Oh, dang it. Okay, well, how about if we do this? We'll go to plan B because creating health is all about being flexible, movement in your spine. I'm a Pilates girl. You might be a yoga person or a stretching person. Whatever you do, movement in your spine helps your mind become more flexible. So we're going to plan B, and that's how creating health is created imperfectly. We're going to go to plan B, and is what I'll do is I will stand so that you can see the ocean. And one of the things I love to do is match my breath to the ocean. And remember, the goal is the goal is because that ocean is 3 parts magnesium to 1 part calcium. We are now, as a society, um, oh, nope, I thought it was sea glass, but it wasn't. Sometimes there's little shiny shells that look like sea glass, but they're not. So, one of the problems that we've got going on and why America is getting sicker every year is we are 3 to 10 parts calcium to 1 part magnesium. So we've become calcium dominant. And so my goal is that my body eternally matches the balance of the ocean. Isn't that interesting? So plan B is, Lorene, is I will turn this around. And one of the things I love to do is just match my breath to the waves. So you'll be able to see the waves and just, if you can, if you want to, take a few deep breaths with me. So I'm going to turn the camera around and we'll just spend a minute or two and just focus on your breathing. I like to think of a flashlight and breathing, and I shine that flashlight from my head to my toes as I breathe, and I'm just bringing oxygen to every part of my body. So ready? Here we go. Oh, how was that? Calmer. I hope that you feel more settled. I hope that you are setting up a plan that works for you, not somebody else's plan, your plan, things that work for your body to help you build a strong foundation. I prove that imperfect action can create optimal health. And journey to health is not a straight line. It's some sideways paths and some backwards paths and some forward paths and a lot of celebrations along the journey. I'd love to have you join me on the 13th for a magnesium challenge, doing it a little bit differently this year. And we will be really focused on how magnesium is helping other parts of the body for fibro, for thyroid, for Hashis, for heart. And we'll be focused on some real science backed things to help importance of soaking and maintaining cell saturation. We'll be bringing um, a doctor on from the Netherlands who is the premier expert. And those people who join that challenge will be invited to that. And he's incredible and is just on the forefront research for magnesium. I'd love to have you join me. Thanks for joining me today. This is a closure for me. And there's a lot of mixed emotions. That was my last walk with me as a resident of Morro Bay. We have loved our time here, and I know you might be having some closures too. And there's a lot of emotions, a lot of gratitude, a lot of beautiful memories, some sadness at leaving, at the same time, some excitement to really set up for the night, to set up our lives to best fit his medical needs and our grandkids and our family. And so, if you've been on any of the Walk With Me's or today, thank you so much for being a part of them. I love them. They're one of my favorite things that I ever did. And I would love to know, because this can be a micro action. And it kind of comes across like, oh, tell me. But it's a micro action for you, because when you take action after you've learned something, that's when you earn dopamine. And that's earned dopamine versus candy dopamine of just listening to great things. So I would love to know, what's your insight? What's your takeaway from today? Janet so beautifully shared, hey, pears really helped my stomach. It's made a difference. Just eating a pear. Mornings are best. But remember, imperfect action creates health. Um, Morning pears are morning food for your brain. They wake up your brain and they really stimulate digestive function. And they're a beautiful way to, a easy, simple thing that you can add if it's appropriate for you, that you can add into your day to really boost gut health. But I would love to know. Okay, so aligning my breath with the ocean. Never thought of that before. Oh, I love that. Yeah, that's oh, what was her name? I took a class from her and she was the one who taught me that concept. Oh my gosh. She wrote a best-selling book. I can't think of her name. She taught me that concept of aligning our breath with the ocean. And before I lived at the ocean and had access to it in 2 minutes, I would listen to like meditations that had the ocean in the background. And I know if you're an Audible member, they have those that you can listen to. And I'm sure there's some on YouTube. But I would align my breath with that crash and that wave of the ocean. And it, for me, that's one of those pieces of breath work that's really calming. So thank you so much for sharing that. Emily, my action is to sign up for the 30-day challenge. Yay! So excited to have you. Oh, Carol, I'm looking forward to it too. I'm really focused on how can I set it up to be most successful, because I realize there's a pattern with the 30-day challenge that it starts really strong and then life happens. And so I've wondered, do I shorten it? Do I do it just for a week and talk about different things? So anyway, I'm in deep study of what I can do to make that so people walk away really feeling successful with the 30-day challenge. Corey, imperfect action creates health. I am living proof, Corey. I'm the living proof that imperfect action can create health. Good thing to remember when feeling overwhelmed. And another thing, because overwhelm is my number one thing that stops me from taking action. And overwhelm is not an emotion. And overwhelm is actually a good thing, because think of a rubber band, and overwhelm stretches you, right? And you're just like, ah. But when you take that overwhelm, you bounce into incredible action. And overwhelm can be a sign. I'm not saying you are, Corey. For me, it's a sign I'm stuck in my head and I'm thinking, processing, and I need to just take some imperfect action and walk away from it. And so that overwhelm now, most of the time, not always, the overwhelm moves me to more action. And so it's actually become helpful instead of this dreadful thing my brain experiences. Okay. Oh, Elizabeth. Yeah, small actions. In fact, Elizabeth, I'm convinced 25 years, 2025 is 25 years that I've been focused on learning and sharing about things that I see and things that I think are important about health. And I'm convinced it's the smallest actions that make the biggest difference, like breathing, mindfulness, stretching. They make the biggest difference. And we get a dopamine hit when we go to the big flashy things, sunshine, that magnesium morning trifecta. Ooh, I'll turn this way so you can see the ocean. That magnesium morning trifecta of walking and early morning sunshine and then soaking in magnesium is those really small things that make the biggest difference and move us forward. Consistency. I think we can, I know I do this. I don't know if you do. Let me know. We find this new thing and it's a dopamine hit, right? We get focused, we get excited. And in actuality, a better step might be being consistent with what we already know. But we don't get a dopamine candy hit, that unearned dopamine. But when we do that, we get earned dopamine, and it's actually so much more powerful. So thank you for joining me on this walk with me. We'll do walk with me's again, and I'll come as a visitor and do it. But this is my last one as a resident of Morro Bay. And I love that you were here with me today. Have the best day. And for those who are already on the on the newsletter, your email link went out or is about to go out. I'm not sure the timing of it for our class that we'll do later today. Oh, Carol, you're so welcome. Angela, oh, I'm so glad we were able to connect. Oh, I'm so glad we were able to connect. And I found a piece of sea glass. Ah, it's just, it was there. I'm a lucky girl. I'd love to know what you're lucky in and what you tell yourself. Oh my gosh, I'm so lucky. And I'm a lucky girl when it comes to finding sea glass and thrifting. But I have to slow down my thrifting. We just had a garage sale. And now every time I thrift or buy anything, I think, ugh, is that going to go in a garage sale? Garage sales are a ton of work, and it's really changed the way I look at how much I consume. Have the best day. And some of you I'll see later on in the Magnesium Masterclass. And for those of you that haven't joined and are joining the email newsletter, it happens every month, the first Monday of every month. And I can't wait for you to join me. Have a great day. Bye. Okay. Oh, and